My name's Elizabeth, and I'm going to be a millionaire in a few years as a teacher. I did a part one if you're interested in that, but I wanted to go more in depth on how and the really key points that have helped us. I've had a lot of questions, and this video has been one that people have seemed to be interested in. So I figured I would go and dive a little deeper in to show you that it is possible and that it can happen. And I know it sounds crazy and I can't believe it, but it is possible if you put in the time, the effort, and apply some of these principles. I'll try to help you too. Let's get into it. Okay, so the first thing is going from like $40,000 to almost $80,000 a year and still having a ton of time off. That makes a huge difference, right? And so a lot of people did see that I was a software engineer. I only made $40,000 as a software engineer. So yes, if I would have stayed in that field, you would make so much more money. I have friends and people who stayed in the business, stayed with the company, or who are just software engineers for a different business and company. They make a ton of money. So that was a valid point that I saw some people looked into. But you can make more as a teacher. I have a video on that if you're interested, and if you are a teacher, how to make more. Guys, fight for your income, fight for it. I'm a teacher and I love to teach. I love helping kids and helping them to be their best. And that is just what I care about. And that's why I left software engineering, so that I was like, this is not the right fit. I thought it might be, but I love actually helping people and connecting with people in life. And so go fight for that income. If you can make more at a different company, if they're not paying you, go somewhere else. You have to go somewhere else. I moved to a county that is right next to mine, and you can make $20,000 to $30,000 more. Plus, they had a pay increase of almost 30% while I was there. And so you have to be the one to advocate for yourself. It doesn't matter what industry you are in. How can you get more skills? How can you get more knowledge? I got my master's degree, which helps me make an extra $6,000 every single year. And I did it online so that I could actually not have to spend that much, and I could still work my job. And I lived with my parents, so I didn't have these big expenses. And so I could just make that money, and now I get that extra. And so if you can specialize in knowledge, if you can get more education without getting so much in debt, it matters. And depending on the industry, or even I've seen teachers go to different industries where teaching is not the normal skill, and they get paid more because they went somewhere else. So don't be afraid to look. Don't be afraid to network. Don't be afraid to go advocate for yourself and for your life. I also literally bought like nothing for years. Okay. I met my husband when I was young. Like I had just turned 23, I think. We got married like a year and a half or so later. And of course, we got gifts or things from the wedding, but I don't just go out and shop or buy stuff. I did go thrifting and would buy clothes, but would spend no more than $100. And I literally did not buy clothes for like 3 years. I had started getting holes in my socks, and I didn't even buy a $10 pack of socks. Like, I'm intense. I can be really driven. I'm a really driven person. And so I really wanted that freedom. I'm like, hey, the love of my life, he's a teacher as well. And so we're both teachers. And so it's like, what can I do? I've always gone back to me. Hey, this is what I want, or this is the situation I'm in. Point the control back to me and say, hey, what can I do? Okay, I'm going to move to a different county. Okay, I'm going to get that master's degree. Okay, I'm going to start learning about financial education. Hey, I'm going to start doing these things, right? You have so much power and ability in you if you're willing to tap into it and if you're willing to go for it. But seriously, I don't recommend that, like deprivation, but even Alex Hormozy, if you follow some business content for him, I love following him. He said that he lived on like $1,200 a month, and he literally just bought gas. And I'm like, same here, you know? And so you can have a fun budget. We did have some money set aside, or like for travel or for things, which we didn't even do that much of. And I do like to buy my healthy food, but I would put a sweatshirt in the cart. That's one of my methods, is to put it in the cart, because a lot of times we want something and you really actually don't want it. You just think you do, or you actually get dopamine, which is a neurotransmitter that makes you feel good. And so you feel good when you buy things, but you can get dopamine by exercise, by spending time with your loved ones, by listening to music, by all of those things, sunlight. And so I really was super intense. I look a year later, it's still on my phone, the picture, and I pull it up, still haven't bought it. So I'm not saying you have to do that, but I've been kind of extreme and intense and driven in what I've done. And that's why we're kind of where we are. The other point I mentioned about living with people, living with roommates, living with family, guys, I highly recommend it. And if your parents or if your brother or brother-in-law or if your best friend is willing to do this, do it. We were doing fine before we did it, but like I said, when I lived with my parents for my master's degree, that certainly helped. So I could just take that money, pay off my education, and then I also had a little bit of money as well. Like that was huge. And even my husband, we moved in with my parents for a little bit, and that helped us as well. Right? And so if your parents are willing to, or if your friends are willing to, and I've had roommates before as well, like that cuts your costs so much. It's the big three. It's your house, it is your food, and your transportation. And as long as you're working, I think a lot of times people look down on this. And number one, in other cultures, it's very common to live with your family members or different people. But also, if you're actually working, if you're actually saving, if you're actually investing and doing something, and you're not just sitting in the basement doing nothing, then why not? And I know for my child, like I would probably want to do that for them too, if that was what they wanted and if we felt like it was right. So don't sleep on that and don't be so prideful. And maybe you don't have that situation. You're like, number one, my family or friends would never want to do that with me, or we couldn't get along, or I need to get away from them. So I recognize that I had wonderful parents and people in my life that it just worked out with, and that truly gave us a huge leg up. And I know that's not for everyone, but I just want to be real. Like clearly, if you're not really buying anything, you're just paying for car payments or you're paying for food, and then you're investing, in also other ways and side hustle, and you're making more money too, like you're going to increase your income and your net worth. That's just what it is. Okay, this is not one that I necessarily advocate for or recommend for everybody, but I do want to make this known, is that we actually haven't bought a house yet. And so we could be making more money, and we honestly probably could have even more money if we would have bought a house. We were going to buy a house. We got married in 2019. We were going to buy a house at the beginning of 2020 before all the craziness happened. And I just in my gut, nothing felt right. And we actually were going to live probably not the part of town we wanted to be in, but it was the southern end of town. There was a new neighborhood, and it was a 5-bedroom. It had a basement, not finished, but it was really nice. And it was only, because prices have gone up so much, it was like $365,000 at the time. And for us, that was a lot at the time, and I was super nervous about it. But as we know, that house is now $500 something thousand. So if we would have invested, we would have still had money to invest, I believe. I haven't done the calculations on it. I just moved on from that. But, that can certainly help. And if you got in at that time, you're probably going to be able to, if you use it smartly, either get a dream house that you want or use that money and invest it, right? And so I'm just being real about that, I think. And if you want to learn more about renting and people think it's throwing your money away, and I know it's a little scary, but not having to put that $70,000 or $50,000 or $100,000 down for a down payment, and having that money to invest in the stock market that returns potentially more over time, right? Your house is probably never going to be millions and millions of dollars. It has helped us. Now, like I said, I wouldn't necessarily recommend that to everybody because real estate helps people build wealth, but we just have a different path. We have other ways to make more money with investing, with businesses, with side hustles, with our regular jobs, that we're going to be fine, and we are clearly fine. But I wanted to state that because we don't have all of this money tied up in there. And of course, in the mortgage, you can take money out. You can take it out. I know people who take it out and they go invest and buy other properties and Airbnbs, which typically you want to have assets. It can be an asset having your main living space, but from what a lot of rich people have told me and my mentors is it's typically not really an asset unless you have other income properties or apartments or in commercial real estate. But it can help. And for most average Americans and people, it is one of their biggest ways to have wealth because they invest in a nice home for their family, and then it's a big chunk of money. So just something to note. Okay, so on that note, if you didn't invest in real estate, what did you invest in? So one thing is investing. Don't sleep on this. And I am actually coming out with an ebook. It's over 150 pages. It is so detailed and so in depth. That is just who I am. And it has everything you need to know about how to invest, how to open an account, how to actually buy a stock, what are dividends, how on earth can you actually make millions from the stock market, what do I choose, the common pitfalls, all of that stuff. If you're interested, go ahead and write investing down below, or I'll hopefully have a link to go check it out in the description if you're interested. But investing is critical. Compound interest, that is how we have it. We've saved and built so much money. And I didn't necessarily start investing until like I was 26. It was when we didn't get the house and I was like, oh my gosh, we really need to figure this out, right? Like I said, it's always go back to you. This is our situation. So what am I going to do about it? And so I started reading about financial education and learning about tax advantage accounts and how to make more money and how to maximize the money that you had. And that was such a blessing. But we invested, and that compound interest, once you have a certain amount of money too, like even put in $100,000. And if you have $3,000 a month to put aside, look at how much money that is and how soon. If you have $300,000 and you're able to put in $4,000 a month, look at how much money you can have. So it's possible if you have enough money to put in, right? And so I just want to share, like, it is possible. Most people, if you just invest $200 a month, you will become a millionaire in your lifetime. If you can invest $500 a month and put it in a Roth IRA that's tax advantaged, it's a double tax advantaged account. You get taxed initially, but then once it goes in, it grows tax free. You get it taken out tax free. That's a vehicle to make you a millionaire in 30 years. And if you look at the principle, I'll show you right here. If you invest that $500, I'm going to do $583.33 because that is how much you can max out with your IRA. You can invest $7,000 a year, and you can actually do it for your spouse as well. And that's what we do. One of the methods that we do, we max those out, and you'll have multiple millions if you put that in, and it grows. And the principle is how much money you put in, but the amount you make, the compound interest, you basically get rewarded for investing in the company. When you buy a stock, you're investing in the company, giving them money to go make more money, and they say thank you, and they give you dividends. Investors and owners make more money. I have a whole book, an actual book that I'm trying to get published, that tells you everything I wish I knew about money and success and change and all these things. But the investing ebook I'm definitely getting out, and it talks about ownership and how a lot of people are employees or they're self-employed. It's the cash flow quadrant: owners, investors. And if you are an employee, you want to also be an owner and investor in businesses and stocks, because that is where wealthy people get wealthy and rich. Like, it is possible. I know I didn't think about this. I was told to invest. I didn't know what to do or how to do it. But guys, like, there's a reason there's people who are out driving the streets in the middle of the day. There's a reason people literally think $5,000 is nothing. There's people who are able to retire early. All of this stuff is possible. And if I can just tell you that, and I'm just a person, it's not like I'm anything special or fancy, but knowledge is key. And then if you're willing to do the work, if you're willing to find an avenue, you can create whatever life you want. You don't have to be stuck in the 9 to 5. You don't have to be. If you want to be great, and I have a video on how to become a millionaire just by working your regular job, but if you want something different, you can get it. You can. I'm so passionate about this. Okay, we also have partnerships. So I have a ton of side hustles. I've been doing businesses since I was little, but we walk dogs, we take care of a lot of things. I'm on YouTube. I have no idea what this will be. But even from starting to share, and I've been able to partner with someone else who has a business, and we're creating this product, and we're creating coaching, and we're helping people in a certain area because I have knowledge on some of this stuff now. That's a key thing that I want you to remember, is have a specialized skill, specialized knowledge that can provide value to other people. People are willing to pay for it. I started working with a YouTube coach, and I paid a lot of money because the value that I would get back. And so how can you solve problems for people and start leveraging your skills? And so I'm loving teaching, but I'm also finding other avenues to share my passions and to share my interests and to help people. It's always been helping people. Yes. Is it helping me as well? Of course. I'm never going to deny that, but I feel called to create, to serve, to motivate, to encourage, to inspire. And I can do that. And there's ways to get paid for that too. And what an impact. Like, how cool is that? Even with the YouTube community, like, these people figured out how to do great YouTube channels and to help impact millions of people. And then they're teaching other people how to do that. And that's changing their lives. And then that's changing their lives, but the content that they're sharing is changing other people's lives. Like, it's so cool. Like, social media, I was always like, I don't know how I feel about this. But once I realized the power and that you could follow a billionaire, you can follow really healthy and fit people, you can support your friends. Like, why not get on this? Like, let's educate and empower and uplift the world together. Like, use it for good. We have so much access. How lucky are we? Like, my parents would be like, why are you always on your phone? But because it's showing me a whole new world. Outside of my small town, I get to learn. Just like when I went to college, I started learning and expanding my mind. But going online and starting to learn from people, like, it will change your life if you listen to the right people and if you implement the information that they're sharing. I also want to share, like, I've put a lot of time. So I said I've been saving for a long time. I literally started saving when I was like 11 years old. So that's a lot of time. I'm 30 years old now. That's almost 20 years. And 20 years of being a saver. I had $20,000 saved by the time I was 18. And so, like, time really matters. I know I'm just 30, but like, it's not like I just started a couple of years ago. I did start investing, I think it was 26, like seriously investing when I was 26. I invested when I was 22 with my first job, but like, starting early matters, and starting and having that, even having $20,000, like, that was huge for me. Huge. All right. This one is key to share too, is that I had help. Okay. Like, it's not like I have done all of this myself. My parents paid for things when I was growing up, and we had every opportunity in the world. And then, like, we had, when I had my son, we had people throw us a baby shower, and we actually asked for diapers and did a diaper drive because we knew diapers can cost a lot of money. And instead of getting extra toys or things, we asked for diapers. We had a whole year supply of diapers because someone else at my school threw a baby shower for us too and brought in wipes and diapers. And so that was such a gift. We have people supporting us. My in-laws, they bought us a crib. So clearly that helped a little bit, not having to spend $200 on a crib. Do they pay for everything for us? No, but having people around or people support you or send you a gift card for Christmas, like, all of that adds up. And we totally use that. Having an $25 or $50 in a gift card, or to be able to buy yourself a meal, because I don't eat out, really. I haven't eaten out for years. I sometimes go to Chipotle, but otherwise I don't really eat out. Like, all of that matters. So I acknowledge that I have support. I know a lot of you, like, don't. And so I empathize with that, and that stinks. But you still can be successful, and you still can become a multimillionaire in your life. You really, really can. I just wanted to share that though, because I think it's unfair and not right of me to just say, oh, I did this all by myself, right? I didn't. And I talk about my husband. Being married really has helped. Number one, it's helped in self-development and growth. And I've changed and grown and improved so much over the last almost 8 years. Like, so incredible. But we got on the same page too. So we had people support us, but my husband, like, he was willing to have the conversations. He was willing to change habits. He was willing to talk about it with me. He was willing to listen to some of my crazy ideas, or go drive an hour or two to go get a $50 couch or whatever. He was open to this, and he's a really just we're laid back, genuine people, or he is. I won't speak for myself, but and so we don't have all this extravagant taste. I do like nice things. I admitted that in part 1, but like that really helps when you don't feel the need to go buy all this stuff and do all these things and project a certain way. Like we really just want our family to be healthy and happy. I really want healthy food and time together. And then I want to serve and create. And he wants to coach and teach. Like that's what we love to do. And so that's one thing that's helped a lot too. Know your numbers, know your numbers, know your numbers. Face the music. I can't tell you how helpful this is. And we actually divided our finances. Like I heard about this. Someone had 7 bank accounts. I think it was Jordan Page, and they would have different accounts. And so you would manage different things or different responsibilities. And so I know a lot of people like Dave Ramsey, and they suggest joining, which totally makes sense to me, but it was kind of helpful to be able to, we each had our own responsibilities, and we also knew how much we were making. We talked about it. How much is your gross income? How much are you spending on this? How much money has to go here? How much is going there? How much are you spending on groceries? Oh man, how come you ate out so much? Like we talked about it all and we figured it all out. And so if you don't know your numbers, if you don't know, if you're too scared, like we figure out how much debt do you have? How much debt do you have? And we just faced the music and we paid it off and we worked on it. There's the debt snowball and the debt avalanche. Happy to share more of that too. But getting on the same page and just knowing your numbers can help you so much. And actually going, oh my gosh, I'm spending $100 on that. I don't want to spend $100 on that. And so just you would never have discovered that if you didn't know. We also explored other avenues like I've talked about with businesses or creating money and learning about the business of money and learning about money. Like money is simply a tool. And I think there's so many good people out there that deserve to have more money. And I think we're taught like rich people are snobs, or, wanting money is bad, or like it's about love and family and things. And it is, but why not? Why can't you have both? Why can't you have both? And the more good people with money, the better the world's going to be. The more generous people, if you're already a generous person and you make $80,000 a year and then you have $200,000, think of how many more people you can help because you have the resource. And so I'm so passionate about helping more people that are just genuine, hardworking, compassionate people take care of themselves, because a lot of struggle comes from not having money, having to work a job you don't like, having to work long hours, having to sacrifice your health. Like, it can impact people so much. And I've seen this in my job and seeing other people. And I'm like, what happened? We're beautiful kids and free and roaming. And then adulthood, why do a lot of us just, we get taken down by being an adult and having to do what is normal? You can create a new normal and you can create a way to thrive. Like I said, I'm just a regular person. If you find someone else that you want to learn from, feel free. But I'm like, I have to start sharing my journey and my life in terms of money, but I'm happy to expand and talk about other things as well and just help another person. And so if you're interested in another video, I have this video on 10 skills making me a young millionaire. I hope you check it out.